Hello to all you lovely creative people out there. I'd like to welcome you back to Fairyhood. Today I wanted to dive into the magical world of fairy houses. This is a project that I've actually been wanting to work on for quite some time now. I'm the kind of person that likes to organize his thoughts before working on my projects. So it's actually very helpful for me to sit down and create just a very basic, rough kind of sketch. Nothing fancy, just keeping it very simple. This way, I have the opportunity to walk through the building process before actually making it. I often get lost in my creative process, so having some notes handy always help to pull me back into focus a bit. Now that I'm ready to move on, I'll just transfer all of my measurements onto my materials. The finished fairy house will measure approximately 27.5 inches tall by 6 inches wide and 1 inch deep. I'm working with a large sheet of bookboard. I have so much of it that I need to use up, but it's really great for this project because it's quite rigid and designed to hold its shape. I painted these in my fairy door video, and so I'm designing the house around these 3 pieces. Before I start committing to painting the bookboard, I wanted to make sure that the openings fit both the window and the door as well. I'll start off by priming the bookboard using a basic white acrylic. I prefer the finish to be a little on the flat side, so thinning it with water will prevent it from building up too many brush strokes. With this style of house, I highly debated if I wanted to do 3 sides or 4 sides. In the end, I chose 3. I figured if I wanted to change the facade or upgrade it or add something to it, it would be easier to work with 3 sides. Now that my prime coat has dried, I can add a top coat of basic ivory craft paint. This particular paint was actually quite sheer, so I had to put a couple of layers of top coats just to get a nice smooth finish. While the house pieces dry, I will paint the trim for the roof line. To keep the project kind of easy and not have to repaint the house too many times, I decided painting the trim work would be better and then apply them to the facade. To assemble the house, I'm just using some basic PVA glue. It has a nice tack to it, so it helps to hold the pieces together, and it dries rather quickly. Working with 90-degree angles can be a little tricky sometimes, so I'm cheating by using the edge of my desk. This is just your average store-bought painter's tape, and the great thing is when you peel it off, it leaves no marks or doesn't take any paint with it. I really wanted the fairy house to have a bit of a cottage vibe, so I decided I would add some stonework to it. I'm just using some egg cartons. I really like the organic texture that it has, and I feel that it'll give a lot of dimension to the facade. This is a very therapeutic process. It's kind of like working with a jigsaw puzzle. The pattern is intended to be very random. This fairy house is not meant to be perfect. It's just a bit of fun and allows me the opportunity to experiment with materials. My day job is making hats, and I'm always focused on getting all the details just right. But when it comes to crafting, I allow my creativity to just flow and be playful. Some things work, some things don't, and I'm okay with that. I just want it to be a relaxing experience and not to take things too seriously. It's been a while since I've played with acrylic paints, so I thought I would be a little more fluid this time around and play with some color washes, see how it would interact with the egg carton. This way the stones don't look too real. It is a fairy house after all, so playfulness is key here. Just want to keep it organic and give it a lot of character. So those can dry for a while now, and I can work on the roof line of the house. To give the fairy house a bit of a relaxed vibe, I took some inspiration from Tudor architecture and added in some exposed timbers on the top half of the facade. Here's my little brass buttons, the handiest tool that I own. Many of you have already commented on them in my previous videos. I use these little cuties for everything, from pattern works to holding down ribbons, anything I need to add pressure to. I just love them. I bought these as a gift for myself a few years ago. They're made out of solid brass and are produced by a Japanese company named Cohana. I hope I said that correctly. I'll leave the name of the company in the description in case you want to find some for yourself. Now I'll add on the roof panels. This part can be a little tricky, so having some pattern weights or some paint bottles to rest the panels against while they dry is super helpful. Never fails, I always get glue everywhere, so I will touch up those little marks later. Now I'll just start making some very easy roof tiles. This is just some standard poster board that I picked up at the craft store, and I'm cutting them into just square shapes. Not wanting to be perfect or precious about them, just give them a little curved edge to keep in with that little cottagey vibe. And just applying them one by one, not worrying about the spacing too much. I decided to match the roof color to the window and the door and the staircase. Besides, I really liked this color blue and thought it would pop against the ivory facade. So to give the tiles a little charm and whimsy, I'm alternating a very light moss green. This enchanting fairy house is almost ready to move in. With a little bit of double-sided tape, the door, the window, and the staircase are secured in place. I'd like to thank you for joining me today on this whimsical journey of crafting my new fairy house. I hope you found some inspiration in it. I hope that you will make your own version, and if you do, I would love to see it, so make sure you tag me over on IG. And until next time, keep painting the magic into your world and have a blast crafting.